Hey y'all, Will here, otherwise Alright, and today we're going to be talking about the 1.2 Prismverse Clash update. Now we have a lot of extra information from the dev stream, which happened a couple days ago, plus information that has been gleaned from the previous servers that have already experienced this and what they've done to try to make it as fun and impactful as possible. Yet to get started, there's going to be two codes on the screen that you're seeing right now, and also down in the description you can copy them. If you go to your events, press X and put these in, you'll be getting a net of 1000 star crumb and some emissary crates. They have until the 31st to be used, so make sure you get them in before they're no longer useful. The first thing I want to mention is that Once Humans dev streams are a way for the community managers to be able to glean opinion and effect of their game currently and try to make it a better game overall. They stated this very clearly. Here's a clip.
Then we can create a positive feedback loop where you guys give us feedback immediately on the things you want changed. We optimize the game based on that feedback, and then we come to you and let you know what we changed. Hopefully, if we work together and can get all that feedback out there, this will make Once Human even better.
To parse that down even further, if you go to these dev streams and don't spam ! giveaway, however fun that may be, but give your honest opinion, positive, negative feedback, any opinions you have on the game, ideas to make the game better because you're frustrated with the topic, or maybe you just want to see it done better, this is the perfect time to do so. Go into the dev streams when they're available to you and drop that information into the chat log. The chat logs are read thoroughly, and this is a great way to get information quickly to the community managers because they're focused on doing that exactly at that time. Getting this out of the way now, I think most people are going to see that they're waiting for Way of Winter and more excited for Way of Winter instead of Prismverse Clash. I'm sure many people are excited for Prismverse Clash. I am too, because it's new content coming to us, but we get a huge content drop afterwards in the 1.3 update for Way of Winter. And we do have an announcement on when that's going to release.
We have confirmed the global release of the new PvE scenario, The Way of Winter, on October 17th.
Okay, October 17th is the date for Way of Winter, and it's very close to now when Prismverse Clash is releasing. This might raise some questions for you, however, they do not overlap each other, which is a good thing to know. If you're day one on Prismverse Clash, you will not miss out on Way of Winter. However, if you aren't day one and you want to be on a day one server for Way of Winter, you will want to wait, if you're not that interested in PvP, to get on at the same time schedule as all the day one players. Along with 1.3 being a huge content release, there's going to be some new weapons being introduced into the game. I save a ton of star crumb myself. I think I'm sitting at almost 50,000 to try to wait for new weapons if they do come up. And we're going to be seeing a Frost Vortex new subtype weapon. Also, something similar to the Corrosion, as in the type of weapon, but this will be a burn build. With that new subtype weapon, we're going to get a Fortress Warfare. We don't know which one of these are going to be the legendary and the non-legendary, by the way. One of them will, one of them won't. And finally, just as if you know the Predator in the game currently, we're going to have a Shrapnel LMG coming into the game. And now these are all information coming from the test realm, so these are not finalized and they may change, just to give you a heads up. Getting out of 1.3, going back to 1.2, here's the clip of them saying that you're going to be a-okay to play Prismverse Clash and still get into Way of Winter when it releases.
The new scenario, Prismverse Clash, only lasts 19 days total. That means if players start playing on September 26th, the release date, it will not affect their ability to play the PvE scenario in October when it releases. But if you're super excited and you can't wait to get your hands on both content and you want to play them day one, you absolutely still can do that.
So there you have it. Day one of each one, no problem. They're going to stick with the day one timeline of the game, it seems like. And going into Prismverse Clash, a lot of PvE players are worried about losing equipment when they die. And just to put it plainly, we don't have to worry about that.
You won't even lose your equipment if you die.
And with that, let's go into a little information about Prism versus Clash that they used H37 once again as the tutorial guide to go over and what to expect with the game, on top of what the people who have been playing in China already have experienced, so we can get a better full encompassing idea of what to expect with Prism versus.
This scenario features team PvP that's even more intense and fast-paced than an Evolution's Call, meaning you'll get a pure PvP combat experience from the very first day of the season. In the wilderness, multiple contest areas have been marked where you can engage in PvP. You won't drop any gear or resources if you're defeated. Will involve many ambushes and group fights. You can also raid other players' territories. The fights between raiding and defending hives may break out any time. The faction with the most Prism energy by the end of the scenario wins. Certain deviations, such as Electric Eel and the Digby Boy, will be converted into Prism deviations. 2 new Prism deviations will also be introduced in this scenario: Berserkosaurus Rex and the Radiant One. You can also attack the opposing faction and seize their hard-earned Prism deviations for yourself and your faction.
So there you have it, Prism versus Clash in a nutshell, but let's bust that open and explain a little bit more on points of contention and confusion that you may be having. First off, we've gleaned that there most likely will be only hives, no warbands, and the hives will be increased to 12 players instead of 8 players. A lot of the core experience that we had in Manabus and Evolution's Call is going to be stripped, therefore we're not going to be seeing any Rift Anchor collections, side missions. Most teleporters are going to be destroyed. We're not going to be seeing new map areas, and we're not going to have the PvP Echo Stones. Along with that, even though it's PvP, we're not going to see the Masonic Pyramid in most cases because that is exclusive to Evolution's Call. In the safe zones, you can get all your gear up to iron, essentially, but if you want to get your tungsten and aluminum, you're going to have to go into the war zone, which is an immediate flag for PvP. There's going to be no friendly fire within the factions. On top of all that, any base in the war zone will be able to be attacked at all times. However, there is going to be the active period and the inactive period, and from noon to midnight is going to be the active period, which means bases will take full damage. However, from midnight to noon, you're going to be taking 70% less damage, which can be exploited in the sense that if you want to have the easiest time capturing your deviations, you play during the down period, which is late night or early morning when most other people are asleep. There are going to be 3 fast, quick phases to this scenario. The first one is to familiarize yourself with the rule set. It's going to take about 5 days to get started, and then the next 2 phases are going to be 7 days. The second one opens up the Berserkosaurus Rex, which is a very rare variant of the Shephosaurus Rex, and then on the third phase we're going to be seeing pro modes. Just in phase 2 we're going to see hard modes, but in pro modes and in the events you're now going to be able to see the Radiant One, which is a very rare morph of By the Wind, which is what we got from the Prime Wars and Manabus. As for new content, all the new content is PvP related. There are no new public events. There are no new dungeons. We get what we got, but now we're doing it in a PvP format. And if that doesn't interest you, you're just going to have to wait until Way of Winter, which a lot of people, it sounds like, are going to be doing. However, if you do want to get the Star Crumb rewards, it'd be wise to just pop into Prismverse just to be able to collect that. However, I think that will have a dwindling population effect later on if people are doing that as well. So it's kind of a toss-up of what you should do. And with that whole blurb, that's going to be my coverage of Prism vs. Clash in the 1.2 update from the devs. We're going to be going over this again with hopefully balance changes that will come out the day of or the day before the launch. On top of, I want to get people ready to leave Manabus or Evolution's Call because they most likely won't be coming back for quite a while, so you better get all your stuff together. However, to finish up this video, they did throw out a few more tidbits of information that wasn't quite related to Prismverse Clash itself, but things that are going to be coming out in 1.2. And the first thing I'd like to talk about is the Eternaland. Here's a little clip about them talking about it.
But once you see those entrances and in this new update, metas will now be able to like their favorite Eternaland. You can see at the bottom on those images, there are little thumbs up symbols. The more likes your Eternaland receives, the larger your Eternaland entrance will be. So if you take a look in that bottom left, that one with 3 likes is much bigger than the ones with 0.
So with that, we're going to learn that Eternaland is getting some new stuff as well, not only the rating system. However, that other stuff will be later. And I definitely want to see them improve upon Eternaland, because currently there is really nothing for us to do there except to build pretty things. And I would love to have more opportunity to bring more into it to make it more fun for the builder of the Eternaland and also the people who come and visit the Eternaland. It was given to us as an idea of allowing people to hang out in an area, but I have not seen a single person myself actually hang out in someone else's Eternaland rather than just play the game. So if they want to see that become a reality, I think they're going to have to add a lot more things, increase prices on some rarities, and give us a whole bunch of new stuff to chew on to make Eternaland worthwhile. But I do want them to do that at the same time. On top of that, we got the announcement that we are getting the breeding update with 1.2. And here's that clip.
Breeding will be live in version 1.2, so just September 26th.
Yeah, that's great news. Can you tell us more about it?
Yeah, sure. I can go into detail about how it works. So essentially, there's a few conditions, and once those conditions are met, your animals will be qualified for breeding. Those conditions are high taming level, the animal must have reached adulthood, and you must have built the special new facility called the Youngling Hut, and this facility must have available space. Once those 3 conditions are met, there's a small chance for your animal to enter the mating state after any feeding or drinking action. After the release of the 1.2 update, the ranching system will also introduce the appearance system. This means that any animal you capture may have a different appearance or pattern, and if you breed your animals, your offsprings will also have a unique appearance. So lots of cool stuff coming, not only for breeding, but also for different variations in your animals. But not only that, not only are there new variations in the animals you can already tame, but in the 1.2 update, we will be adding 3 new animals that can be tamed. So first one, I know lots of people have been asking for. I myself was desperate to do it the second I saw them. Capybaras! Finally, you can work your way into those caves, grab a capybara, and bring them home. But not only that, we'll also be introducing flamingos and leopards.
Again, a lot of stuff to digest there, but really we're going to get multiple skins for animals, it sounds like. We saw the white rabbit originally, and we're probably going to see at least 1 or 2 skins for every animal that is capturable. And breeding may bring breeding exclusive skins. We don't know if that's really going to happen yet, but a lot of people have been wondering about that. On top of that, it's coming out really soon, and unfortunately it comes out when the PvP scenario launches. However, for the people who are staying behind and waiting for Way Winter, they're probably going to be on the forefront of this and allow themselves to be able to learn a lot more about this while all the PvPers are shooting themselves in the face. I personally am all for collections, and the more collections I have available to myself, the happier I am, and I'm glad that they're doing that, and I was very glad with all the variants of deviations that they gave us to collect as well. Next up, they announced a new vehicle skin. However, it feels very loot tradey, and I really would love to see non-loot crate cool things. That's how they gave us the game on launch. Here's an awesome cosmetic for your territory that you can buy outright. Here's an awesome skin for your character that you can buy outright. And then eventually they just said, oh, you just give us even more money, you get a whole bunch of shit that you don't want, but you might get the one thing that you want. But if you're not naive, you're going to see that you have to spend the entire kit and caboodle of that if you actually want the item. And if you're very, very lucky, you might be able to get it without spending that much. But that's not an interest mentally to anyone, really. The final piece on the video will be that they are releasing the ability for players of the game and those who are interested in the game in general to make scenarios for the devs, and if they like those ideas, you can get not only cash prizes, but potentially have that entire scenario idea injected into the game itself. Here's a clip on that.
Creative Scenario Workshop. In this event, metas were going to unleash their imagination and write the scenarios that they envision. What kind of scenario do you think would be great for Once Human? You can submit your scenario to us, and the best ones will not only receive cash rewards, but will also have a chance to be implemented right into the game. If you can believe it, we actually have $1,500 USD up for grabs at the moment. So if you have an idea for the game, definitely send it on in. Let us know what you want to see, and maybe not only will you get some money, maybe it'll be in the game.
And there you have it. There's the 1.2 dev stream in total, being split up into the most important parts for you, I felt, with some opinion behind it. If you do like these types of videos, let me know. I would appreciate it. This took me a little bit more time than typical, and unfortunately it was delayed as well due to unforeseen circumstances, so I apologize for that. Anywho, expect a few more videos on Once Human before Prismverse Clash launches, and also more once it does, going over the content. So with that, thank you for watching. Have a great day. Later.